Hello everyone, so I want to give an update on a story that I did a couple days ago, and I suggest that you guys go watch that video, but I'll just give you, a summary of everything. Basically, a 5-year-old girl named Kylie Mickens was starved and dehydrated to death by her parents, and she succumbed to the conditions and she died, and this all happened back in June. A 4-month investigation took place. In October, the parents were charged with felony murder and first-degree cruelty to children. And this is such a sad situation because, in my video, I basically discussed, how parenting is very important. Kids are gifts, but they're also responsibilities, and kids deserve to live a full-on life despite the circumstances. But his parents seem to not care at all, and they allowed their child to die, and that was just very hurtful. The child could have continued on with school and went on to trade school, to college or military or whatever it may be. This just is so sad. But overall, there are children that are dying every day over senseless acts. However, with the updates for the story, it changes my outlook just a little bit, but not really. So once I read the updates here, you'll understand what I'm saying. But I still believe, even after this, that parenting is important. These parents are responsible, and that young girl still needs justice. So this is coming from the New York Post. Georgia girl who weighed 7 pounds when she died had rare disorder, and this is according to the attorney. A 5-year-old Georgia girl allegedly starved to death by her parents had a rare disorder that stopped her from gaining weight, the couple's attorney said. Jerrail Maurice Mickens, 31, and Porscha Danielle Mickens, 29, were charged Tuesday in Hall County with felony murder and first-degree cruelty to children in the June death of Kylie Mickens, who weighed just 7 pounds before dying at a hospital in Atlanta. The couple is accused of failing to provide adequate nutrition and medical care to the girl, leading to starve her to death, according to arrest warrants obtained by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. But their attorney said Wednesday that Kylie had a disorder called 1p36 deletion syndrome that made it difficult for her to eat and drink as well as to swallow. She had a hard time keeping weight on from birth, attorney Corrine Mall told the newspaper. This is a medical issue, not a starvation issue. Their other 2 children are perfectly healthy. Most people with 1p36 deletion syndrome do not speak or utter just a few words and have behavioral problems, according to the National Institute of Health. Those affected also typically have weak muscle tone and have trouble swallowing, as well as gastrointestinal issues, but generally survive into adulthood. The Mickenses of Beaufort intend to plead not guilty to the charges they face, Mall said, adding that she filed a motion for a bond hearing in the case. The couple, who were charged after a 4-month investigation, made their initial court appearance Wednesday, WMAZ reported. They remain held without bond at Hall County Jail on Thursday. Online records show an autopsy found Kylie died from dehydration and malnutrition due to medical negligence. Manner of death was ruled a homicide. The girl's grandmother, meanwhile, thanked friends and family on Facebook for their continued prayers and support days after Kylie died in June. When Kylie was born, she was diagnosed with a rare condition and only expected to live 2 years, the Post read. However, we experienced a true miracle and were able to enjoy 5 years with her. Kylie was my little diva and always found a way to tell me what she liked and didn't like. Kylie's fight is over and she is now at rest. Our fight is gone. So as you can see, the major update here is that Kylie had a rare disorder called 1p36 deletion syndrome. So this makes this a tricky situation because with this rare disorder, the child has trouble eating and drinking. However, the parents have a responsibility to make sure that that child is nourished and seeking medical attention if anything goes wrong. However, did the child succumb to her disorder? I really don't even know. See, the child was expected to live up to 2 years. She lived to be 5 years old. But according to the article, individuals with 1p36 deletion syndrome are able to survive into adulthood. Now, Kylie was a special needs child. And if you know anything about special needs children, they need special care and special services, okay? Especially if it is severe. So with special needs children, they may have various conditions such as autism, where they're on the spectrum, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, blindness, deafness, behavioral issues. Like, there's so many conditions that special needs children can have. And if you work in a school system with DFACS, Department of Human Services, if you're a counselor, therapist, psychologist, you understand that special needs children have to be cared for. They have to have certain services. They also have certain rights that they are entitled to. For parents that have special needs children, they can get burnt out. They can get frustrated. They can be uneducated on certain things about their child. But, you know, with that being said, there are parents that get to a point where they're unable to take that child, and they do some unusual and evil things to try to take that quote unquote burden off their hands. It's like they don't want the stresses anymore of dealing with their child, because their child is not competent or a regular child. I remember I was reading about a woman who had a child that was autistic, and she just could not deal with her autistic child, like her duties of taking care of that child. She couldn't take it anymore. She took her child to the lake and pushed him into the lake, y'all. And this boy drowned and died. And I'm telling you, for parents that have special needs children, you know, if you know you are at that point and you are unable to take care of that child, you need to give that child up for adoption, because that child deserves to live in a loving home where there's somebody that wants to take care of him or her. I'm telling you, there are parents or people out here that will take special needs children in a heartbeat, and it's not even about the check. They really want to take care of that child. So here you have Kylie's parents, where I'm thinking like, okay, did they get frustrated? Did they get burnt out? Did they say, hey, I can't do this anymore? You know, I can't take it anymore. So they just let the child succumb to her disorder. Or did the parents, you know, get scared? Something happened. They didn't know what to do. They waited too late, took the child to the hospital, and the child ended up dying a day later. We don't know. However, after that child passed away, a 4-month investigation took place. So during the time of the investigation, whoever was, you know, looking at the case, they had to know that this child had a rare disorder. So the parents had, you know, to be responsible for providing some sort of nourishment for the child. And even though the child had trouble drinking and eating, they still had to keep that child alive by providing her with something. And if the child was not responding well, or something was going wrong with, you know, her taking in her nourishment, however, they should have taken her to the hospital, but they waited too late, or something happened. There's a disconnect here. So for them to be charged, something went wrong. Something happened. And I wonder if they just stopped giving that child nourishment altogether. But my main question still stands. Why? Like, what happened? I really hope that the parents did not fall to the pressures of caring for that child and just allowed that child to just succumb to her own disorder. Because Kylie probably had more years to live, but because the reason behind why the parents neglected the child is a mystery, we'll never know. So I'm going to continue to follow up on this story and see what happened, because it would be important to know what the parents did on their part, whether it was intentional or unintentional. Now, the lawyer or the attorney for the couple said that this is a medical issue, not a starvation issue. But we still need to know what happened. Are we blaming this on the disorder, or are we blaming this on medical neglect, meaning the parent allowed the child to pass away? So y'all, I'm going to stay up to date on this story. I'm just curious, I just want to know the outcome. I love children. I work with the youth. I want justice for this girl. And guys, again, I'll stay up to date on this story. You guys take care.